I'm Isaac Hernandez.
And I'm Holly McClure.
And this is Faith on Film, a program designed to keep you informed on everything that's happening in the world of faith and family entertainment. Holly, how are you today?
Doing great, thank you. And I'm excited about this program because we're going to feature a star of one of the films that you've actually talked about recently. And it's exciting to get to hear from someone who's actually been in the movie and can tell us the behind the scenes about it.
Yeah, I had the Kendrick brothers on a few weeks ago, and I don't want to rub it in, but you weren't on that interview.
I know. You're rubbing it in.
But we got to talk a lot about, their journey into filmmaking and everything. But specifically, we also talked about a movie that they did. And here's what's interesting about it, is God put that story in their heart. God brought that story, which, by the way, is a true story, brought that story to them over 2 years ago without knowing. They had no clue that when the movie would be ready and would come out, that there would be a huge change that the Supreme Court had done concerning abortion.
Yes.
They had no clue, but God already knew, didn't he?
God's timing on everything, especially with the Kendrick brothers. Never underestimate when they're doing a film that it's God ordained.
Absolutely. And of course, we're referring to the fact that the Supreme Court overturned the Roe v. Wade decision. And so that really kind of brought a lot of awareness into not only the abortion issue, but really the adoption issue. Because, it's, as Christians, it's our responsibility to not just say, hey, don't kill your baby, but what about beyond that? How do we help them? And I think adoption is one of the ways, of course, that we as Christians can help these young ladies that, made a mistake and now are faced with the situation of having a baby.
Well, what is the name of the movie, and is it out now? Can people see it in theaters?
The movie comes out September 9th, 2023, by the way, which, again, I always like to give this disclosure that if you're watching this program weeks from now, months from now, years from now even, that the movie may have already passed through theaters, but you can always, of course, find out by going to LIFEMARK.com to find out how you can watch the movie through maybe some streaming platforms. But if you're watching this, in fact, I think this program will come out like September 5th on YouTube, so you'll be able to go to the theater and watch it. But you know what? Before we talk to our guest, let's take a look at the trailer.
Okay.
Are you okay with people knowing that you're adopted?
Yes. Mostly. Not really.
Do you remember asking to see that when you were about 8 years old?
How old were they?
I think she was 18, and he was 17.
I honestly had no idea that this many people were wanting to adopt.
Imagine how scared she must have been. She was pregnant when she graduated, and then the decision to place you for adoption.
God, if you're there, please protect him and watch over him.
There's a birth mother on the line with a question for you. It must have been the hardest decision of her entire life.
Hello?
But she loved you, and I'm so glad that she made the choice that she did.
I've always wondered if my biological parents think about me.
Today's David's 18th birthday.
You want to talk to him?
I don't think he'd want to talk to me.
There's only one way to find out.
I guess maybe I didn't want to feel different.
You didn't want to be an idiot.
I didn't want to be different.
Okay, good. That's a lot better.
God gave you to me and Mom as a gift, and you will always be our son.
Is that your birth mom? She wants to meet.
Really?
Yeah. This is huge! Hey, what's up, Emily? How's it going?
That's Elizabeth.
By the way, I said lifemark.com, but it's lifemarkmovie.com, as you saw on the bottom of the trailer there, lifemarkmovie.com. Dawn, welcome to Faith on Film.
Hi, yay! This is a dream, Isaac.
Oh, well, I'm glad we made your dream come true. Now,
me too.
Now, I have a whole, little intro here that I usually read, but I figured, why do that when you're here to tell your story? Why do I need to tell it, right? The only thing that I do want to say is, of course, that you play the biological mom or the birth mom in the movie, which, of course, is a very important role. Again, this is a true story, and I got to tell you, you really captured the role. I mean, I I was feeling for you there when you were so concerned. Is he gonna want to meet me? Because that's the whole story, by the way. Well, not the whole. That's part of the story. Is that you guys, or the biological mom and the son, meet when he turns 18, and it was just a great, wonderful story. But before we even talk about that, let's get started with finding out a little bit about you, who you are, and how you got started in acting. Tell us your journey into acting.
I will, but I just have to say, first of all, I agree with you because just watching that right now, I was feeling her. So I have to wipe my tears. It was touching. And I have not seen the movie yet, but how I got started in acting was I had a different answer about a week ago until now. And what came up is I remembered walking up from my horse barn. I had not watched movies. I had not watched TV very much. And so I don't know where this came from. But we might have an idea who this came from. I was walking up and I looked up at the sky and I said, God, I want to be in a film on a horse. And that was it. I just prayed a prayer. I want to be in a film on a horse. That was it. That was it. After that, I grew up performing, acting, things like that. And so, because we had dance studios in my homes, I did guitar recitals, cheerleading, all those things. So I was used to being in front of people, but I had no idea that acting was actually a possibility, a career. And so later, I was in a time after I graduated from college saying, God, what do you want me to do? I don't know what you want me to do with this. And I was seeking God for 2 weeks, very intently. And a friend invited me to do something fun, to go be an extra on the set of Everything That Rises with Dennis Quaid. And I said, okay. So I took my little toddler. We went. Long story short, I had great favor. I was invited by the key hairdresser to come backstage. I went on set. They invited me to the cast and crew roping on their day off. I rode Dennis Quaid's horse. I roped off of his horse. Wow. Yeah, my son did the little toddler rodeo on stick horses. But something about being there, I felt alive and on fire and excited, and I didn't know why. And I went back after a couple of days experience, and I was on my bed and I was praying, and I was like, what is this? I've been asking you what to do, but I don't know where this fire is coming from. Could you actually be telling me that you want me to be an actor? You put that in my heart. Because I made it clear. I said, God, I don't want anything for vanity or just for celebrity or something like that. And he said very clearly 2 times, I'm going to use film to change the world.
Wow. Dawn, you I love your name, Don Long. I love that. It's such a great name for a marquee, Don Long.
I like it.
I like it. You are starring in a Kendrick's Brothers film, which, I followed their career since the very first movie they came out with. So it's fun to see each film they get better and better. And with each film, they do something that touches an area of everyone's life. If someone in your life has been affected by the subject and the topics that they cover, what was it like being in their movie?
It was surreal. First of all, being with Alex Kendrick, I always saw him up there and he's like a mentor, and now he's my husband. So I saw him on the screen.
In the movie, right?
Yes. When I saw him on the chemistry test on my screen, because they didn't tell me who I was chemistry testing with on the first chemistry test, and I saw him, I went, oh, okay. This is how we're rolling. All right. So, and it was glorious. Everything you can imagine and want the Kendrick brothers to be, Kirk Cameron to be, and their sets to be, that's what it's like.
I have to tell you, I barely recognize Kirk Cameron because in my mind, I always think of the dark-haired young Kirk Cameron.
Right.
And then you see him, you're like, oh, he's getting older, which of course we all are, but you just don't connotate that with him. You don't think that.
Well, I have to say this for him. They actually had to make him older and younger. He is actually in the middle of what he is in this film. So they had to grade him, and then they had to euthanize him. Wait, no, not
euthanize.
Okay.
I'm sure Kirk will appreciate that. You euthanized him.
Make him more youthful, yes.
I thought that, yeah, youthfulnism. There you go. Youthful.
Nice. I like that. Thank
You know, Holly, I thought the same thing when I saw the movie, because at first he came out as this older gentleman. I thought, oh my goodness, Kirk is getting old. Then I realized, oh, wait a minute, they've made him up to look older, because afterwards he came out looking younger. I'm like, okay, that was dumb of me to think he had gotten that old.
Hey, it's movie magic.
You know, I have to ask you, Don, because Alex is known for, in his movies, that man can make me cry every single movie that he ever makes. He does something with his voice, and I tell you, he can bring tears. But it looks like you had a lot of crying scenes in this movie. And were you the one? Did both of you do it, or were you the one that had to do the tears? And was it hard?
Well, first of all, in acting, you try not to have to do tears, but I watched Melissa so often and I wanted to represent her well. I just wanted to be in there, and then the tears can't help but come. But yes, I did a lot of emotional scenes, and I didn't know if I was geared up for it. I've been through some things in my life, and I cried mostly at happy things. And sad things I was kind of desensitized to. So I really had to pray about it. But then when I got in, and I fell in love with Melissa before I ever played her. I fell in love with David before I ever had him as my film son. And so it just came. Thank
Wow.
God.
So did you you tell us a little bit about her story, because it's based on a true story. Was she on set then, obviously? Was she on set with you? Was she there, or tell that story?
Yes, I love her. She's a courageous, bold person. What you see in the film of her is her. That's what she says anyway, but she's probably times 10 or 100. She's very bold and full of life and zeal, but she's also very open about her vulnerabilities, and I love that about her. She's just real. And so it was really easy to play someone like that. And I wanted to do it justice.
Now, I noticed again in the little write-up that I read on you that, you grew up horseback in the woods, dance studio, teaching runway modeling, but also that you do a lot of hiking, cross-country skiing. I mean, you do all sorts of things. Now, in the movie, there's a scene where you skydive. I want to know, did you really skydive on this thing?
You can't ask that.
Oh man, are you? Did I just ask you to ruin the scene?
Yes, I so wish I could tell you yes. I was prepared. I mean, I really worked at being prepared, because I am normally afraid of heights, and so I worked at it. I went to talk to somebody. Let's just put it that way, to get ready. I was ready, and then the insurance, we couldn't do it. But
but you would have done it. You would have done it, huh?
I would have. I was there, and Melissa wanted to do it with me that day, so we were geared up. But they did some things that the skydivers who we were strapped to, they were real skydivers, actually said was more scary to them than actually skydiving.
Wow.
Because we were raised and lowered on a crane with a piece of wood at the top, and they made it on set.
Oh,
and
wow.
They were kind of nervous. But we had boxes below us, so everything was good.
I have to ask you, what was your favorite scene, or the one that was most touching to you in the movie?
Yes, my answer has been the same out of all of them. I mean, I haven't seen the film yet, so I have to say there's some other scenes that I've seen with Marissa, and some other scenes, the teen Melissa. But as far as the ones that I did, it was when all of us came together, and it was right after I met him. And that scene always touched me, because that uncomfortableness of sitting right next to, but also longingness. Like, how do you not touch this person, but yet you don't want to invade their space? All these desires and insecurities at the same time, and just the wonder of seeing your child in person for the first time. So that one, and then having the Scottons, all the family around, everybody was there. And when I talked to Melissa, because we went through the film moment by moment, it took us, in the film, I mean, I lived on Parker Avenue, the documentary is about. It took us 3.5 hours to go through that. So we just started and stopped at the same time all along. And in that scene, she talked about how everything felt right at that moment. but everything didn't feel right until that moment, because she had been without her son, a love that was part of her. And so that is the most touching to me.
Wow.
Do you think this is going to be, oh, sorry, Isaac.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, is this a story? Give us an age range. Will kids that are adopted and maybe 9 or 10, can they appreciate this, or is this for an older kid, older teen to adult crowd?
Well, it's labeled PG-13 because of the subject of life and things, but I think it's appropriate for most all levels, and there's fun in it. It's not a super heavy film. Yes, there's a few dramatic parts where you feel the real moment of it, but it's super fun. Justin does an amazing job. Raphael does to bring in lightness. Rebecca, it's fun, I think, for any age group.
This is the Kendrick brothers, or Alex Kendrick, is very good at always inserting just enough comedy to make the movie, a dramatic movie, light, but not make it a comedy movie. And he's always been very, very good at that. I remember, what was he, the Snake King or something like that? I don't remember what.
Yes.
Remember that? So he's always put something on this one. I love that he put that one kid that basically is his friend, who just provides all those comedic moments. I thought that was brilliant.
It is. And you know what? That's how they are in real life. So they're very meaningful, deep people, but also very lighthearted, and they catch you off guard. I've learned to expect little pranks and teases and things, and it's fun.
Now,
they are so much fun.
I'm going to try to get you to basically rat Alex out here right now. This is the first movie. This is the first movie he hasn't directed. Yeah, he brought in another director, a young director. How was he as just an actor? Of course, he was the executive producer, but how was he as not the director? Did he kind of try to sneak himself in there and direct? Go ahead, rat him out.
He didn't. I'd love to rat him out for you right now, but he didn't. He was invited toward the end of it. He was so respectful and so wanting Kevin Peoples, the director, to take this as his baby and like pass that torch to another person. So I respect that a lot.
Yes, that's wonderful. Yes.
Toward the end, I think Kevin Peoples invited him to come do a little bit, and so he couldn't help but get behind the camera and do some. So I took some pictures. There's a lot of pictures when we're on set. We're having so much fun. Alex Kendrick, he's like a little kid with a camera everywhere. And I wouldn't have 3/4 of the picture if it wasn't for him. Voluntary taking it and then sending them all edited.
Do you have any plans on being in another film soon? What are the projects that are coming up for you?
I do. There's a film called Wounded Pride. That's a Western. I just got permission to share it. Right. And yes, it will run June, end of May, June. And Kevin Sorbo is in it already, David A.R. White, Ben Davies. And it's a prodigal son Western. But
oh, wow.
It is a Western.
Oh, good. I love those. I love those.
Yes, I read the script. There is a lot of shoot 'em up, and definitely, the light and dark side shown.
Now, what role do you play?
I will play the role of Maggie, which is the mom. I was given a choice, and it was really hard for me because I'm a outdoor girl with a lot of testosterone. I wanted to play another role that was very much tough and riding horses. That's my dream, right? That's what I asked for. But because of what's happened in my personal life and how I can relate to this story, I knew that was the role that God would be able to connect me with the most meaningful in the project.
Oh, wow. Well, we are here right now with Dawn Long, of course, who plays the biological or birth mom in the movie LifeMark. If you want to know more about it, again, go to lifemarkmovie.com. That's lifemarkmovie.com. But I noticed, Dawn, that you've got 2 posters behind you. One of them is for LifeMark, but there's another one there called August Rush. What is that one about? And are you in this movie? Obviously, you must be if you put the poster behind you.
No.
It
doesn't mean
Is it just your favorite movie?
It's one of my favorites, but I had a phenomenal experience with Richard Lewis. I was a part of a film festival that I helped run or whatever, and we premiered August Rush. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's a beautiful story. Yes, and I'd not seen one like it with the way the music was like a character in the film. It was stunning in every way. And I got to sit next to Richard Lewis between the two producers. And Richard Lewis, he throughout the whole film of the premiere, he told me what was going on. So it was such an honor to be there and hear that firsthand. And then a friend of mine wanted a gift, and I asked him for a poster, and he sent one for me as well and wrote on it. And it was such a special experience because the way film affects people, it really gets at your heart because you're hearing things, you're seeing things. It's so much more of an experience than at home. But with the music combined, the people were speechless at the end of it. And so then he was speechless when they stood up and applauded, and we sat in the limousine speechless when we left. So it's just one of those moments you never forget. And I'm so appreciative for.
And it affects you like that, as I think this film, LifeMark, will affect some people like that. I think they're going to walk out and be touched. And even if they don't have adoption in their family or their history, like I said, most people know somebody. And if not, just these days, caring for children, what an important responsibility that is. And saving a life, as we all know, pro-choice, yay.
It's all about love. What does love do? Say yes to life. And I think you will be able to see someone in each character, because each character has their own real life issues, their own real life responsibilities. So I believe everyone will see themselves in one or more of those characters. And it kind of validates where they are and why they are there. And then how do we help that situation? So it's eye-opening from a really full perspective.
It's real quick.
It's kind of, yeah, go ahead, Holly. Then I want to ask you.
I was just going to say real quick, it's funny because it's LifeMark, and I was thinking birthmark. You think birthmark, LifeMark. I don't know. I just thought that was funny how that kind of correlates. Go ahead, Isaac.
Yeah, it does, and it's kind of like how it leaves a life leaves a mark in this world.
Yes.
That's my own interpretation. I did not get that from anyone else.
Yeah, no, and it was interesting, by the way, that the young man really did have the life mark of his biological mom, because he also was very active like she was. So it was like that was already in him, is the whole personality. Wow. So that was a definite life mark. But Holly, you said something about how maybe not all of us have an adoption experience, but we maybe know somebody that does. Interestingly enough, Stephen Kendrick made a comment on one of the teaser trailers, and he says, we all have some kind of connection to adoption. And I thought, well, that's kind of a strange, too generic of a statement to make. Then I thought about myself, and I go, wait a minute, yes, I do, because I realized and remembered that my brother, not my youngest, but the one above him, was actually adopted by my parents when he was at birth. And so I just never thought of him as adopted, because
Isaac,
we had him at birth, and he was like my brother.
That's pretty big.
He's
That's
always
pretty huge.
We've never looked at him as he's different than us because he's adopted. He was one of us, and then it hit me. Wait a minute, I have experience with adoption.
First-hand experience. There you go.
I do. And so yeah, this movie then now is much more touching to me, because I think that maybe we should really think about how we're going to help these young girls that again have made this mistake, and we want to help them as much as we can, and adoption is probably one of the best ways.
Life is
I think just wrapping love around, because whether the mom chooses to keep the child or give the gift of adoption, she's going to need support. And that's where the church and other people, we can come in and do a lot better job, because most women say they would not have made the choice to end the life if they would have had a way to keep the life. And so I'm so glad that this is bringing light to that. And my cousin was adopted, and we actually went through the adoption process when we were younger to adopt, but our social worker quit, and it didn't end up working out. I just kind of left it in God's hands at that point. But everyone is somehow attached to some role in this film in some way.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited for people to see this movie, and for young people too. So parents, even though it's PG-13, it's just because of the issue and the topic. It's not because of sexual situations.
No.
It's not because of language. It's not because of anything you have to worry about. So
There's nothing yucky. Nothing yucky.
Nothing yucky. So take your older kids, because it's good for them, because I bet you there's somebody in school that they know who's adopted if they found out. And this is a great way to communicate and be able for them to be able to talk to that person about it. So I think it'd help.
I worked with, I call them at potential youth for years in a high school situation. And my heart is so for people knowing that if they were adopted, they were never rejected. It was actually ratification. I looked up this word, and it means approved, affirmed, accepted, confirmed. And so they are actually a really special gift package that somebody received, and not a rejected.
Holly,
person.
we might need to change or do that little thing that I say at the beginning of the show, a show designed to keep you informed on faith and family movies. I might have to change that to keep you informed on non-yucky movies. Will that work? Will that work?
Non-yucky movies. I like non-yucky. I really like that. I think that's pretty descriptive.
So Don, if people want to reach out to you, what's the best way to do that?
Oh, probably through my agent, Jean Wenger. I love her. She's with Treasure Coast Talent Agency. And that's probably the best way. I'm also on Facebook. I have an actress page.
Yay.
I also have it's Dawn Long actress, but I also have a website. I just thought of that. It's
yes.
dawn-long.com.
Okay,
Wonderful.
I think that's the one we'll really ask people. Go to your website, and then that way they can hopefully just contact you that way. Just to, a lot of times just to say a little prayer for you.
It's been fun having you on.
It
I've so enjoyed
been.
your story.
It
Thanks
has
for
been.
joining us, Don.
And folks, don't forget, if you want to know more about the movie, go to lifemarkmovie.com. That's lifemarkmovie.com. And of course, we want to hear from you. If you need to write us and just say, you know what, all you have to do is tell us, hey, I'm Sandy from Podunk, Iowa. Is there a Podunk, Iowa? For reals? Or I just heard people always say that. If you're from Podunk, Iowa, we want to hear from you. But we just write us a note and just let us know that you're out there and you're watching. You can write us at faithonfilmtv@gmail.com. That's faithonfilmtv@gmail.com. And of course, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at faithonfilmtv. And very important, right, Holly, that they check out our YouTube channel and hit that little subscribe button. All they got to do is go to YouTube and look for Faith on Film TV and watch all the shows that are there, and then of course hit that little subscribe button. Dawn, thank you so much for being on the program.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. This is a dream. Thank you. Come true.
Well, it was fun having you on, and we were going to encourage everyone to go see the movie and keep in touch with us and let us know the next project you're on. You said that Western, so let us know when it's going to come out. I want to see that.
Yes.
We'd love to hear
So
more
we'll
about
have you
that.
back. Okay.
All right,
Thank you so much.
Holly, we'll see you next week again, folks. Until then, take
See you
care.
next week.